All right, guys, we're back on the Enigma houseboat restoration project. Today, we're focusing just on the steering system. So I'm gonna get all of that ripped out of the boat, bring it here into the shop. We're gonna rebuild it, and then we've got one simple goal. By the end of today, we should be able to turn one of the wheels and have both of the rudders move again, and that's it. Now, if it's your first time here, to catch you up, the Enigma is our 43-foot houseboat. We used it for 10 years and finally decided it was time to restore it. We brought it here to the house, we chopped it in half, and we're trying to make it into a 50-footer, and that's kind of where we're at today.
'Cause I'm a low life. I'm a low life.
All right, boys, so if we look at the project plan, I figure over the past year, we've done about 1/1000th of the work needed to restore the houseboat. So at that rate, it's gonna be the year 3025 before we're done. So I'll have been hanging out with Jesus for over 900 years before the boat sees the water again. So we gotta pick things up. So I think here's the problem. I went to the Miami Boat Show and I saw all these fancy yachts and all the new technology. And because the Enigma gave us 10 years out on the water with all my family and friends, and it really deserves someone that could put $300,000 into it. Unfortunately, it's still got us, and we still don't have enough money to do that. So our new motto for the channel, it's at the end of the videos now, it's later than you think. And it's basically a commentary on time, it's always running out. And if we take the specific example of the steering on the houseboat, I've been waiting around because I wanted us to buy a fly-by-wire setup. Because I crashed the Enigma into so many boathouses over the years when we're trying to dock it. You see the wood on the back, it's all beat up from us ramming the back into docks. And that's because you're way up at the front of the boat, you can't see what's going on at the back, there's no bow thrusters. Those systems, to be able to drive a boat with a remote control, way over $20,000. We just don't have the money or time to wait around for that. So in the interest of saving time and money, we're gonna rebuild the system we've got. It's from the 70s, it's all manual hydraulic, and it never let us down. It did start to get mushy the last couple years. It leaked from everywhere. We'd have to refill the fluid all the time, but I think it's salvageable. Okay, let me explain the hydraulic steering system on the boat so you can understand what we're trying to restore here. So up on the top of the boat is the fly bridge. You can drive the boat from up there, and there's a helm with a hydraulic pump. There's hydraulic lines that run downstairs to the bridge area, and that's where the second helm is. From the downstairs helm, there's hydraulic lines that run the whole 40-something feet all the way back to the engine room. And then back here in the engine room, those 3 hydraulic lines run to the transom, and they go into this Teleflex uniflow valve. So this is a special check valve where when you move the helm, it turns the rudders to a certain position, and then check valves in here keep the hydraulic pressure, that way the rudders don't move. They don't make this valve anymore, they don't make parts for it, so we've got to restore it and make sure it's good. And then out of this valve are 2 hydraulic hoses that go to the single steering ram, which of course moves back and forth to move the rudders. Then the rudder shaft, it's 1 1/4 inch solid stainless steel. It goes down through these rudder boxes. And if you look at these rudder boxes, they are corroded and they are about shot. This is where most of our leaks were over the 10 years we had this boat. These rudder boxes leaked all the time. And then back here at the back of the boat, of course, are the 2 rudders. So they're not huge, they're like a foot tall, roughly, for a 43-foot boat. It always steered pretty good though. The problem with these rudders, they were always loose like this. And so they would rattle around whenever you would steer. If you were looking in the engine room, you could see the posts just wobbling around. So I don't know if the shafts are ground down in here or if these rudder boxes are worn out, but we got to figure that out. That's no bueno there. Almost. Oh yeah. There we go. Shaft looks a little grooved up from the years, so even if we can clean the rudder up, I think we might have to see about getting new stainless shafts made. Here's the starboard side. Let's see. Ooh, this shaft looks pretty grooved up too, so there we go. All right, steering ram free. I'm up here on the fly bridge, which is where we drove the boat most of the time. You've got a pretty good view up here. You're like 15, 20 feet above the water. So this is the helm that got the most use. It's the one that leaked the worst too. So we always had a gallon up here of automatic transmission fluid, and you'd have to refill it pretty much every trip. Let's see. I don't know if we're gonna need a steering wheel puller. Oh no, it just comes right off. Okay, spent a lot of time up here driving this boat around. over the 10 years we had this boat. So the pump is as nasty as I remember it being from it leaking so much over the years. Oh, got it. One Helm pump. Okay, we got the flybridge Helm pump. We'll go downstairs and get the bridge one next. Spent many hours driving from down here though too. Whenever it was stormy or wind was blowing too much. Good times, good times. Okay, in the back of this Helm pump is here in the little downstairs room in this rat's nest of wires and cables and hydraulic tubing here. I think the easiest way is to finally rip this Helm apart and get to the pump from the top. I've been delaying pulling this apart because this is the last piece of the boat that still looks like a boat instead of just a trailer house. So, oh well. Cheap ass plastic. That's one way to do it. Snip. Snip, snip. Look at the dirt dauber nest on the hour meter. Dirt daubers and fire ants have to be the worst things in Texas. Useless. Break all these hydraulic lines free. Yank this pump out. And then we'll go try and see if we can rebuild them. Get them to live again. The wheel off. That one's not coming free. Oh, there we go. So right here, just this stuff here for the steering system, if we can restore it, here's how much we're gonna save. Each new helm, those are $1,300 a piece. Each new rudder I found, $800 a piece, and then $1,100 for the steering ramp. So $5,300 if we gotta buy this stuff new right here. All right guys, got this pump chucked up here in the vise, and I did a little reading about it. So apparently this is a pretty good pump from back in the day, but they discontinued it in 1987, it says. And the newer pumps have check valves built into the pumps, where this system used check valves in the back of the boat, right by the rudders. So that's what that other box is. But they said it's still a good system, and they used it on commercial boats. Oh, they don't have parts for it anymore, so that's one thing. Ooh. Let's see, how's it look? Okay, how does this thing work? Ooh. Swash plate kind of deal. This is kind of like a air conditioning compressor in your car, where it's got this angled swash plate, and as it spins around, pushes these pistons up and down. I've got the first pump blown apart here on the table. All the parts look pretty good other than the O-rings, so if we can replace those, I think this pump might work again and stop leaking so much. Got us a little pine sol bath going here. Get her heating up, clean all the parts out. Since they stopped making this pump in the 80s, I can't find this gasket, of course, so we're gonna make our own out of some gasket material. What is this made out of? This Caro Pack smells horrible. I gotta look it up. It says it's a vegetable fiber. Chemically treated vegetable fiber. Okay. Throw a little Prussian blue on here, so I can see what we're doing. There we go. Okay, it's time to get the helm pumps back together. I ran all the parts through the parts washer. The check balls though, these were steel, so they're magnetic, and the chrome came off of them, so they're kind of rough now, they look terrible. I do have stainless steel check balls we can use, so hopefully there's no issue running stainless in here, because that's what we're gonna do. But we can file this under possible foreshadowing in the future if there's a reason we shouldn't do this. We've got our rotor here. All 5 check balls are in there. Okay, pistons are all in, rotor spins free. Swash plate and bearing goes on next. our seal that we made and top part. Okay, get our little keyway back installed. All right, we'll call this good. We'll get that check valve assembly built. We're getting there.
Anybody here? Pass me the rum, and we can find somebody who can play the steel drums. And if you like this beat, then everybody dance with me.
All right, next let's take apart this check valve that mounts to the back of the boat here. The problem with this one is, this is what they stopped using in the 80s. So almost 40 years ago. I looked on eBay, I couldn't find one for sale. Even if you do the sold items and look at the past auctions, can't even find one in there. So these are pretty rare. So if this doesn't work, you know, we're in trouble. Here's the check valve. Looks pretty gross, but it's been in the boat since 1976. So on each side, 2 security screws, a flathead, and a hex. Not sure what that's about. And then the 3 fittings. I know it's a port, starboard, and a return line. And then there's just 2 lines that go down to the steering ram. So if cylinder drifts, remove plugs P and S on this valve. Withdraw balls. I got some friends that have done that. Withdraw balls and springs. Clean ball seats and replace. All right, we got an O-ring on this one. It's plastic. Well, I think I found why the steering got kind of mushy and weird the last year or so of the boat when we had it out at the lake. Can y'all see in there? Look at all that rust, and that check ball and assembly looks like it's sideways in there. Oh! All right, now we've got 6 more plugs on this side. Let's see what kind of fun awaits us over here. We got a little shuttle that goes back and forth. Let's pull it out and see how it looks. Looks like there used to be a spring on this guy. Looks like the spring is kind of broken apart. This one's got all kinds of metal junk. Oh, spring rusted apart. Not looking good. Damn it, damn it, damn it. So a lot of these parts are rusted in here. I don't know if this one can be saved or not. We'll see. One cool thing, there's a patent number on here. So I just Googled the patent, and we've got the original filing here from November 10th, 1969. So that's kind of cool. We've got a full schematic here of how everything goes back together, where all the springs are located. So at least I can understand how this thing works now. Some of you may remember from some older videos, but the way we got the center section to extend the houseboat is we chopped up an identical houseboat at a lady's farm, and we salvaged whatever we could off of that boat. The windows off of that boat were still good, so we kept those and some of the parts of the steering system. So we actually have a second valve here and steering ram. There were no rudders on that boat, but at least we got this. So let's take this valve apart and see if it looks any better than the one off the Enigma. All right, good news, guys. This valve is a lot cleaner than ours was, especially this section here, the shuttle valve. There were pieces of a spring here, but you couldn't really tell what was supposed to go here. On this one, the spring is in good condition. It's just a single spring. I think what we can do, we'll get this valve cleaned up, use it as our primary valve on the boat. And then I've got some assorted springs here, so I'll find one that fits and we can reassemble this one, keep this on the boat as a spare valve. So I think that'll work out. The shuttle valves here are a little corroded, so I'm gonna hit them with this 3000 grit. See if they start to look any better. Oh yeah. Polish these back up. O-rings, O-rings, O-rings. O-rings for days. Aside from the metal parts and cleaning those up, it looks like the only thing we'll have to do is swap out a bunch of O-rings, and this thing should be about as good as new as we can get it. Just like it's 1976 again. All right, I've got our check valve assembly rebuilt as good as I can get it here. So I'm gonna send just a little air through and see if I put air into this one, the shuttle valve should slide over, let air come out this one. Let's see. You can hear the shuttle valve clicking over. Oh yeah. It's blowing out there and not out the other side. Okay. Go to this one. Oh. Yeah. And then if I shove air into here, nothing happens. That's a good sign. That's what it's supposed to do. Keep fluid from backflowing through here, so the rudders will not move if you're not moving the wheel. All right, that's good enough testing for now.
I like moonshine whiskey. I like homemade wine.
Well, I got that hydraulic steering ram blown apart here, but the whole time I was talking to you guys, my Rode mic finally bit the dust. A wire broke somewhere in here and it was just popping and static. So there went $80. It only lasted me a year. Anyway, got it apart. It's just some O-rings. The main thing I need to order are these piston seals here. They don't look too bad, but I figured we would order new ones while we've got it apart. I got the old McMaster car catalog out here and found those on page 3,739. So piston seals, they've got these ones that are O-ring loaded. Says they're good for 5,000 PSI. Says they're more betterer. $5. So I got 2 of those ordered, and McMaster's pretty quick. They'll be here probably in the morning, so. So, just so you guys know, there's absolutely no reason to be lathing this part. I just wanted to knock the casting off it and make it look prettier. And sometimes it's fun to just see if you can do something just for fun. Brass and bronze, they just machine so easy in the lathe since it's a softer metal. And it's just fun to do, so why not? All right, so did we need to run all of these parts through the lathe? No, but look how good they look after that. That's some shiny bronze and brass we got going on. Plus, I always like to look for a reason to run the lathe or the CNC router or the old plasma table, because if it goes a few months between using them, sometimes I forget how to turn the dang thing on. That looks good. Let's get our center section on here. There we go. Oh yeah, sealed on the O-rings. That looks nice. Get this last piece on here, the final mount. Y'all gotta admit, bronze and brass looks good cleaned up, even if it's 40 years old. Look at the other one. It's kind of what a before and after looks like, so cleaned up pretty good. Looks brand new. Now, it may leak and not work at all, but at least it looks good.
And the things we like don't cost a lot of money. Good foot stomping music gets us fine.
The very last thing that we were going to try and salvage are the old rudders here. What looks like happened to the rudders over the years, it's a process called de-zincification. So whatever alloy they used, it might be a naval brass, which has zinc in it, and as it spends time in the water, the zinc gets removed from here and it leaves the copper behind, and so that's why you get all these red pits. That's just copper. These rudders, we'll just keep them as a spare, kind of a memento. Maybe we can clean them up better and hang them up on the wall in the houseboat. We'll at least put these back on the boat right now and test the steering out. Okay, so we've got our helm pumps rebuilt. We're just gonna use one to test out, even though we've got 2 helm units. We got our check flow valve, our steering ram, and 2 rudders. Let's go get it all hooked back up.
I'm gonna build a houseboat on the bayou. It's gonna be a mighty, mighty pretty sight to see. I'm gonna make it nice and painted red with a little...
All right, boys, I'm back out here in the engine room of the houseboat. I've got our little temporary setup here. Got the helm just kind of clamped to the transom here. I've got our check valve, all this temporary copper plumbing. Yeah, so let's fill it up with fluid and see what happens. So the hydraulic system calls for good old normal automatic transmission fluid, so start filling this up and see how many leaks we've got. There's about 30 different connections for this to leak from, so did I leave a damn rag in this thing? I did. What a moron. What a freaking moron. We got wheel on, we got some fluid. Let's start turning this thing, see what it does. Oh, I'm already getting some resistance. That's a good sign, maybe. Let's go the other way. Oh. Okay, it's locking up right there. Yeah, we did something. Cause she won't even move. Yeah, it's 100% locked up now, but there's fluid obviously in it. It sounds like it's made it down to the check valve, at least. I can hear it. See if y'all can hear that. Something's happening down in here, so I'm gonna start just unscrewing things, and maybe we just need to bleed it, or maybe not. But I feel like we're about to make a mess. That's the negative to hydraulics. You know, that is the one thing I just thought of. If we did fly-by-wire for everything, you can't really leak electrons out of the wiring, you know, but as soon as we start cracking lines, we're gonna make a mess in here. That's just part of hydraulics though. Okay, here we go. What's the worst thing that could happen? Let's start with the port side here. We'll just pop that guy out. Fluid. Yeah. Okay, let's do the other side. What would be causing the whole thing to be just straight up locked up? Yeah, we got fluid there too. Maybe next I should start cracking these hydraulic lines. You know, this is probably just full of air still, so. Ooh, heard a bunch of air. I never had to bleed the system. The 10 years we had the houseboat on the water, because it leaked from the helms, so you just always refilled it. It was like a self-bleeding system. Okay, now it's letting me turn it, but it sounds like we're just low on fluid, but it's still, okay, ignore that. The joy of hydraulics. All right, let's make a little dam here. Well, we'll come back to that later. Okay, well, good, we got fluid coming out this side at least. Let's shut that guy back. What a show. Okay, I might have figured it out. So what I did, I loosened the big Allens here that have the check balls and springs for the returns. So let's tighten them back up how they were. Yeah. Ooh, can't move it, okay. Back them off just a smidgen here, so they're not bottomed out. Oh, that's it. Yeah, dude. Oh, that's how it used to be. Look at that. Oh, that's great. Ooh, okay, let's try the adjuster here. So let's count how many turns lock to lock it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5. All right, now we'll tighten up our swash plate. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, 3.25. It's definitely harder to move, but if you want quicker steering, that's pretty cool. Oh yeah. This is awesome. I think we might have just saved, what is that, $1,300 for 2 helms, $800 to $1,000 for the steering ram. We're gonna need some rudders, but I think we just saved about $3,000 rebuilding these old things. All right, boys, we got it done. I was worried there for a minute when I couldn't even turn the helm, but once we got it figured out, it's just like I remember back in the day where you could turn the wheel with one finger out on the lake. It's great. So on our project plan, we'll call the steering system, we'll say 50% done. So we can't say it's 100 until the whole thing's plumbed in, you know, later down the road, but that's pretty good. So maybe instead of finishing the houseboat in the year 3025, maybe we cut it down now to 3024. So it's better than nothing. So next video you guys see on the houseboat, a couple weeks from now, we're gonna start looking at engines, and I got one here on the trailer that we're gonna start tearing apart, so stay tuned for that. Hit the old subscribe button if you want to keep up with that. Y'all let me know if you've got any comments or suggestions on the steering system, because this is something I'm not an expert at. Anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us as always, and we'll see y'all next time.
Build a houseboat, it's gonna be a love boat. I'm gonna build a houseboat.